Ladies and gentlemen, this is an article that came out on Vox.com, October 23rd, 2018. Trump declared a state of emergency. Remember, he made it a public health issue because he didn't want to do a national emergency on this, because if he would have done that, it would have really depleted a lot of the funds here in America. Because, I mean, look, they have spent over $1 trillion on this drug addiction, and it's still going strong. And believe me, he saw the numbers. He's not pouring anything into this thing. Then, if you remember, he put together this committee that were going to come up with solutions for this problem. The only problem was they started coming forward and saying he doesn't listen to them. So that tells me he just put the commission together for show, just to make it appear as if he was doing something about the problem, but he really doesn't care. So they said every time they made recommendations to Trump, those recommendations were always ignored. And then, if you remember, after Chris Christie was no longer heading the entire thing, he picked Conway to step in there and take over. And what has she done? Look, this woman is going around telling you to eat a French fry. I mean, does that sound like somebody that's concerned about the opioid plague? She said, eat a French fry and have some ice cream. Yeah, he got some real hard hitters in there that's going to take care of it all right. Well, I knew from the start he was never going to resolve this. You know, he made it a public health emergency, if you remember, and people wanted him to make it a national emergency, and he didn't want to do that because it would have funds would have had to be released if he declared a national emergency. And Trump already said he was not going to fund this. So how are you going to combat something without funding? When he declared it a public health emergency, he said there would be no funding. So how serious could he be? He's not serious at all. Anybody to believe he is, you're just stupid. Too much fanfare. Last year, Trump ordered his administration to declare a public health emergency over the opioid plague. As Americans, we cannot allow this to continue. This is what Trump said at the time. It's time to liberate our communities from the scourge of drug addiction. And then he went off golfing or whatever he does, McDonald's, Big Macs, whatever, and never looked back at this particular issue again. A new report from the Government Accountability Office looked at the results of that emergency declaration. The report found little came out of the declaration. According to the GAO audit obtained exclusively by Vox, the declaration enabled the Trump administration to make use of 3 new authorities: clearing paperwork requirements for a survey of healthcare providers about addiction treatment, allowing 2 states to move forward faster with programs to address the opioid plague, and expediting support for research about opioid addiction and overdoses. None of this is bad, but it's certainly not groundbreaking, particularly for an overdose crisis. That's broken records for overdose deaths year over year, reaching an estimated 72,000 drug overdose deaths in 2017. Low number. Intentional just intentionally giving you a lowball number. All right, so he has been criticized. Some of you might have noticed in the media that he's been criticized heavily for doing very little on this drug addiction thing going on in the country. Communities are desperately in need of more help to address the opioid plague. Trump, as this report shows, has broken his promises to do his part, Warren said in a statement. I've asked this administration time and time again to show what actions they are taking to meaningfully address this crisis. No response. To me, it looks like empty words and broken promises, hand waving about faster paperwork and speed up. A few grants is not enough. The Trump administration need to do far more to stop the opioid plague. They won't. They won't. See, when he gets back on the campaign trail for the next election, he's going to be out there talking about we've done more for this opioid addiction than anyone else. That's because that's how he talks. According to him, no president has done a thing except for when he came into the White House. Now things are getting done. Oh boy, if this man don't like talking about himself. The Trump administration told the GAO that it is doing what it can with the emergency authorities unlocked by the declaration. The administration has also pointed to other steps it has taken in response to the opioid plague. This year, for example, Congress, with Trump's support, enacted more funding for addiction treatment as part of the federal budget, and that has done absolutely nothing. Obama has done the same thing. And I don't care how many funds they throw at this thing, it's just not making any difference at all. But Trump's emergency declaration, you know, so far, despite of the self-congratulating by the federal government on what it's done, experts say the White House and Congress need to go much further than they have so far, particularly when it comes down to new dollars for addiction treatment. Trump's limited emergency declaration over the opioid plague. The public health emergency declaration came upon the request of an opioid commission set up by Trump. As part of its preliminary report, the commission asked the administration to declare an emergency to remove regulatory barriers and unlock more resources to try to open up access to addiction treatment. Trump followed through with a request on October 2017 with his typical flair. But experts warn from the start that the impact of such a declaration would be fairly limited. They said it could mostly get some programs and research out faster, and it could unlock some funding, although, as the GAO noted, the Public Health Emergency Fund only has about $57,000 in it. And the Trump administration has not requested more funding for it. $57,000 for a nationwide drug addiction. I tell you what, If that's all that's in the public health emergency fund, it is very clear Trump don't give a damn about you. That's not enough to send 5 people to rehab. I mean, seriously, look at that amount of money. Woo! Oh my God. That's all that's in the. He declared the opioid plague a public health emergency. And the only funding they have for public health emergencies, y'all, is $57,000. Woo! Man, if you can't see this man is not serious about this, you just don't want to see it. Oh my God. Oh my. That's a damn shame. But he got his mouth all wide open like he's going to do this and he's going to do that. And oh, we're going to end this addiction with $57,000. Yeah, right. So that's all he has in his public health emergency fund, ladies and gentlemen, for an addiction that's impacting millions out here. Trump ain't serious about this and he's not going to get serious. It is time for people to wake the hell up. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.